day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we got quite a bit of news stories and talk about. We have a video we're going to watch that Robert Jones submitted. It's called Why Most Extraction Shooters Fail. It's by a YouTube channel called Hollow Tide. He's got 17,900 subscribers, so we're going to watch that a little bit later. We're also going to talk about the director, Gore Verbinski. Verbinski is the guy's last name. Gore Verbinski says Unreal Engine is the greatest slip backwards for movie CGI. So we'll talk about that as well. Then we have a couple of stories about Marathon from Marathon art director. Fears unproven, unknown games like FPS may not have a future. He felt like we were also sort of getting away with something. And then we have a comparison to Concord. Didn't feel great, says ex-Marathon art director. But as much as the haters online, you can't take the thing I care about the most. So we're going to talk about that. And then if we have time, we're also going to talk about Netflix switches to all cash, $27.75 offer to Warner Bros. Discovery to block Paramount hostile bid. If you guys like what we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do appreciate you very much. What's going on, Ward? What's going on, Eclipse? Jason, good morning, Altern. Roic. Aku, Salty, nice to see you. Who am I missing? Kylo, good morning. Big Mo, what's going on? If you guys also want to use the Monster TTS or the TTS Monster, which is basically chat, talk to speak, and want to get your stuff, even though we bring up your stuff all the time throughout the stream. If you guys want to have your thing read out loud, you can use that as well. Not mandatory. It's just there for other people that want to use it. What's going on, Robert? Is this an ad? Is this an ad for what? Or are you talking about Mo's spamming? Is that what you're talking about? All right, let's start off with the Marathon stuff. We have two stories for Marathon. All right, what's going on, House? What's going on, Dustin? So, former Marathon art director fears unproven, quote, unproven unknown games like the FPS may not have a future. He says, quote, we felt like we were also sort of getting away with something. You were getting away with something. Joke aside, I mean, you got away with, for the longest period of time, of stealing someone's artwork. But hey, as Marathon makes a comeback, its former art director wonders how long risky games like it will be given a chance. Okay. Following a recent leak on the new trailer for Bungie's upcoming sci-fi extraction shooter Marathon, Destiny 2 developer opted to officially reveal the game's release date earlier this week. It's officially scheduled to release on March 5th. 2026 across Xbox Series X, S, Windows PC, and PlayStation 5 with pre-orders available now. It says originally slated to come out last September, Bungie delayed Marathon after a poor reception or its closed alpha testing last spring, with many voicing concerns about the shallow gameplay depth and the lack of highly desired features, a proximity chat, the flat visual aesthetic, and the lack of atmosphere, and the whole art theft controversy. I love that that article is just like, oh, and that other thing, the whole art theft thing. Not a big deal, right? December brought a huge reveal of Marathon, showed how the developer has extensively addressed all of these problems and more. However, leading to a significant amount of hype for the FPS building. Okay, the culminated into Marathon's pre-orders soaring to the top of Steam charts top sellers and PlayStation pre-orders list, forecasting successful launch. Okay, in terms of mindshare, okay, the public reception is a huge comeback for a related unknown property. The old Marathon games were pretty much a niche in the main 90s. That got off to a rocky start, but Joseph Cross, Marathon former art director, questioned how long risky and unproven unknown projects like the extraction shooter will be afforded in space to develop to the developer. It'll be very interesting to see. I don't know what the video that Robert Jones sent us, but talk about extraction shooters. If you go back to, we have a song about from what's that movie? I can't think of it now. Hunger Games. From Hunger Games to what battle royales are today, right? Hunger Games was the movie that came out, and then with what's her name? Jennifer. I want to say Jennifer Love Hewitt, but it's not Jennifer Love Hewitt. But the actress Jennifer's in there, right? I can't think of her name. Pretty girl. I just can't think of her name. And then Minecraft put a mod inside there, and then they had the Hunger Games inside there. Then we had PUBG, then we have Fortnite, and the rest is history, right? It was a mod in a game based off a movie and then basically turned into one of the biggest genres out there. And then we have the extraction shooters. They've been around for about a decade as well. Jennifer Lawrence. Thank you, Kylo. So then you have the battle royales that came in, and they were very risky, but they were very successful. So everyone's been chasing that. But not all battle royales will be successful. Now extractions come out, and extractions is a very niche thing. And a lot of people are trying different extraction shooters. It so happens that, Arc Raiders is working out very well, but it's also not a traditional extraction. They've made it something completely a little different. Now, Marathon might be doing something as well, similar to that. So Marathon is such a massive project. The studio took such a risk on it. Oftentimes it felt like we were also sort of getting away with something. You were stealing artwork. We told Reader Grave, the recent interview, he says, I think about that in a big picture, that the idea of the studio funding unproven, unknown projects for 6 or 8 years. That's another thing, right? They've been working on this thing for so many years, okay, for hundreds of millions of dollars, sort of a spec. How much longer are things like this going to exist? I've been part of a couple of them now. I think pushing the envelope and taking risks is what made, Hollywood, made video games, right? I mean, you got to look at like Rockstar. You look at certain games like Madden football games and baseball games. That seems pretty, par for course, right? You're like, people like sports, so we'll make sports games. But when you take projects like Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate or Pal World or, Marathon, you have to take risks, right? Regardless if we like it or not. I've always said it doesn't matter if you like a project or not. If the artist wants to make the project, they have to make the project. That's what art does. You make a picture and you see if people like your picture. And if someone really likes your picture, they'll buy your picture, right? That's why pictures cost thousands of dollars, because there's one of them. Unless they make a copy of it and then they have to paint it again. It's not like they're making a factory unless it's prints, okay? But art is art. So make a game, sell the game. Your project that might be off the wall, batshit crazy, might be one of the greatest hits of the year. Look at you, right? Expedition 33, right? They wanted to make the game they wanted to make, and it was fantastic. So when he says the unknown projects for 6 to 8 years, how much longer is this going to last? Forever. Forever. If a person comes up with a project, if you like it or not, what was that other one? Dustborn that came out that completely failed, right? Good for them. They tried something and it failed because they didn't have an audience to buy that game, right? Regardless if individuals think a game is good or bad, it only becomes successful if the masses buy it, and then it becomes successful to a point where it makes more money than what they spent on it, right? So it says, Cross went on to note the developer is not always intuitive. It thinks about the financial details of your project or the pressure to deliver a profitable product, as the mindset can impede creativity and drive you to avoid anything seems risky. Instead of sometimes you have to put out the armor of art and have faith in your perspective. That's right. That's exactly right. It says, quote, it's not always intuitive to remember that above all the other product, that being funded every day that goes on is a day you're going to further end into the red. You're not making money. The studio's not making any money. He said so. Anyway, that's a big one, especially when you're really trying to channel creativity and get to a point where you also feel like you can't impose anything you feel a risk. Okay? Yeah, guess what? Most people do a job because they think that they could get paid for it. And if you can get paid for it, fantastic, right? I always think of YouTube as like a person, a homeless person on the side of the street saying, I'll work for food, or a person that plays music on the side of the road and plays the guitar as people pass by, okay? If they don't play the music, they're not going to get anything. But if at least they play the music, they're like, hey, thanks for letting me hear that song. Here's a quarter. Here's $1. Here's $10. Whatever it is. They do it because they want to do it, and then the money comes along, okay? It says it's hard to argue against the perspective of a bold new IP like Claire Obscure Expedition 33 and Arc Raiders are dominating Game Award shows and player count charts, with the creative properties like Hi-Fi Rush, Dispatch, and Blueprints making huge waves too. Elden Ring, arguably current game is a decade, has a high risk pushed into open world genre from FromSoft. And yet crosswords suggest that growing sentiment amongst publishers and Fortune does not favor the bold, and the risk tolerance in the game development is on a decline. I don't know if it's on a decline, right? just saying Clair Obscura Expedition 33, Arc Raiders, Blueprints, Elden Ring, Hi-Fi. Hi-Fi Rush was a great game, but it wasn't a great game successfully because it didn't make a lot of money. Dispatch sold a couple million copies, right? Again, a game is successful if it makes its profit back. That's why they can make another game, right? I think all this is going to happen. Now, 19,000 games. Out of the 19,000 games, how many games do you think are things that have been done before? Probably a majority of those, right? But a lot of ones, like what, Peak or Schedule 1, right? There's a lot of games out there that are just like little niche games, but they also don't cost $300 million to make, so they can become successful and profitable. All right? So I understand what this guy is saying. He's like, well, how much longer can this make, right? And obviously, it's making the rounds because Marathon it's in that cycle now, right? Unlike High Guard, they're starting to promote the game if it's putting videos up or making articles out. So we have that article, and then we have another article, right? Marathon skyrockets on Steam's top seller chart after pre-orders go live. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. This is the one. Comparisons to Concord didn't feel great, says ex-Marathon art director, but as much as the haters try online, you can't take the thing I care about the most. Okay? It says comparisons to Sony's live service failure Concord, and this won't be the last time we compare games to Concord because Concord set a new standard as one of the shittiest games to ever come out. Regardless if you liked it or not, it closed down in less than 2 weeks. Okay? Could weigh in from a former Marathon franchise art director, Joseph Cross, who left developers Bungie shortly before a release date revealed incoming extraction shooter, facing unflattering discussion. Cross says he focused on the art itself and examined the opportunity to take a rare risk on the game like this. Cross discussed his exit from Bungie and his work in Marathon in an interview of Raider Grieve, asked about the period where Marathon challenges and stumbles aspired partials to Concord, another risky, expansive produced premium price competitive shooter, and another part of a publisher. Sony's ambitious plans to build a lineup of live service games. Cross reflects on mixed positivity and negative surrounding the game, as well as the light and that guided him through it. Okay. He says, quote, "It's difficult for me to take any of that stuff personally because I believe I believe in the art. There's so many jokes that just write themselves. I won't even do them, right? Because I believe in what I've done. Again, right? Cross says, I think it did something really cool, and I think it's panned out. I can't control the way the game plays. I'm not a designer. I'm not a game director. I can only control what I can control, and what I can control, I feel really good about it." And I can't take that away from me. As much as the haters try online or whatever, whether someone doesn't happen to like the art direction personally, whether they don't agree with some political thing Bungie did or whatever the animosity, deja vu, can't take a thing I care about the most away. Marathon's art was famously saddled with a now-resolved plagiarism fiasco, with the design from the external artist found to have a lifted somehow or wholesale by some of the game's corporate logos. Brutal riffs of the game's rally cry, such as plagiarism will make me good or make me God, define the especially ugly stretch of the game's road to release. Okay, but it wasn't all bad news. You lost your job. You lost your job. You got fired from your job. Criticism of Concord often targeted its art, specifically forgettable environments, character designs. Marathon revealed was not without some similar criticisms of its own, some of which have also been addressed in visual update that only made me like the style more. But it's also immediately clicked for some people, okay? In the style of the iconographic aid of compelling pieces like cinematic short, written and directed by Albert Malogo. His art is also divisive, but also capable of grabbing attention and making an impact, on which is the beats of the indifferent Concord widely inspired. Okay, Cross likes Bungie's position, ending up in the shadow of unrelated but somewhat similar unfortunate project to bad luck. It feels like some losing a lottery ticket or being in the wrong place in the wrong time, he says. And that stuff never feels personal to you, you know? He says, quote, "Something that sort of weighed on me, not super heavy, but something that's also been aware of, was the stakes of Marathon," Cross says. He rightly calls the game such a risk for Bungie Studio, which turned a also risky Destiny into a decade-strong franchise, which Cross was also part of. Here's the thing I have a question about, right? Bungie makes it sound like, or at least this guy makes Bungie sound like they're like a small independent studio and taking big risks and never been successful before. We do know they were successful before Halo, and then when Halo came out, they were extremely successful. And then they made Destiny, and they were extremely successful. And then they made Destiny 2, and they were extremely successful. So why are we, like, surprised that Bungie, they're like, well, also so risky and take it. Like, they made stuff in the past that made them good now. Hence why High Guard is being talked about, because the people that made Apex Legends and Titanfall, right? You know what I mean? It says, oftentimes we also felt that Aware sort of getting away with something. I think about it in the big picture, the idea of the studio's funding unproven, unknown projects for 6 or 8 years for hundreds of millions of dollars, sort of on spec. How much longer are things like this going to exist, he wondered. We already talked about in the other article. And that's another thing. Extractions did exist. It's even been on record that a lot of Destiny players, a lot of Bungie employees would play the crap out of the extraction games, and this is what they wanted to make the next thing. So when they say unproven, it doesn't sound right, because they knew it was proven. There was a small niche, and they're like, well, how do we change this? How do we make it more viable, right? So Cross says that the Marathon, about 6 years as part of the team that began with 12 people, but ended up with hundreds of developers. Most of the game's development budget is labored over time, so we don't have the exact figures, and we can also conservatively estimate that Bungie has sunk in 9 digits into Marathon production. I'm sorry. Did he just say 9 digits? Okay. 9 digits into Marathon? If that's true, like, now obviously he's saying he doesn't have the exact figures. Very conservatively estimated that Bungie has sunk in 9 digits into Marathon's production. That's a shit ton of money. Are they going to make that money back? I don't know. Okay. It's not always intuitive to remember above all of this, the product is being funded, and every day that goes by is the day that you're going to further into the red. All right. Cross observes that they're not making money. The studio's not making any money. And so anyone that has big one, especially when you're really trying to channel the creativity and get the point where you really feel like you can't impose anything that feels like a risk. Here's what I find funny. If you made Destiny for, let's say, $100 million, right? You made Destiny for $100 million. That game goes on to make $1 billion. Okay? Right? $1 billion. Now you're working on your next game. You're like, well, you're not making money. The studio's not making money. What the fuck are we talking about? You're an employee from a company, right? You're not doing this pro bono, right? You're literally getting a paycheck every single week, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it is, to work on the next game that they made money from the other thing. And if they didn't make money from the last game, they're getting money from investors or from a big publisher, and that's why you're getting paid. That's why you're doing the work. Like, what are we talking about that they're working for free, basically? He's like, you're not making any money. The studio's not making any money. We're all doing this for charity. Like, you made money from the last game that you worked on. If you're a brand new studio, you still got investors to make money. You're still making a paycheck. It's not like you're like, I don't know, if I do this, I might not work. No, the guy that's making Cuphead that put his house up for sale, okay, is the one not making money for the thing that he's putting a project in. That person's not making money. You working for a big corporation, now bought by a bigger corporation, you're making money. You're making a weekly salary. What are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Am I delusional here, chat? This guy's talking like he wasn't getting paid. He's like, well, I don't know. We're taking a big risk on making Marathon. Oh, we're not making money. They're not making money. What are you talking about? All right, let me scroll back up here. I got excited that the Xbox was today. Sad to realize it's tomorrow. Yeah, nope, it's tomorrow, the 22nd. Eclipse says, I'm glad I waited to play Outlaws. You actually get to keep your second weapon now. It's awesome. Yeah. They actually fixed a bunch of stuff in the game. I wanted to go back and play it, but I haven't done it yet. But I will, because it's on Game Pass now. It's like a bitter/sabotage interview. Eclipse says, yeah, not a big deal. They just pay them off. Altered says, why do they brush off the billion-dollar company stealing literally poor artists as if it's nothing? Tell me that you receive bribes without telling me. It's weird that they not only brush it off, they like tell you a bunch of stuff, and they're like, oh, the developers are not making any money. The company's not making any money. Oh, and by the way, the other litigation stuff where they settled from stealing someone's art. Not a big deal. Like, what are we talking about? Have you guys seen the original Asian movie called Battle Royale? It's an inspiration for Battle Royale modes. The Battle Royale Asian movie that you're talking about is you're talking about the kids in the that got brought to an island that they had collars around their neck, and then they have to escape the island. And if they try to leave the island or whatever, their heads blow up and stuff like that. That is not where Battle Royales come from. Justin Love says, YouTubers/streamers are definitely akin to panhandlers. I'm surprised the business model works at all. Oh, 100%. That's exactly what we are. Yeah, it's a very good movie. It's up there with the riot. Everyone with the opinion is always just a hater. Let's see. Arc Raiders is still number 1, and the marathon dropped today. Salty says, I guess this is thought out, putting out all your eggs in one basket mentality type of game for them, regardless of the past success. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get behind that, Salty. It's like, it's so weird. It's like, we've never done anything like this before. You literally have two major, you worked on Halo, you're 1 for 1, right? You made Halo 2, you're 2 for 2. You worked on Halo 3, you're 3 for 3. You worked on Destiny, you're 4 for 4. You know what I mean? They're successful for pretty much every game they came out with. Fallout 76 is higher than Marathon in the top selling right now. Crowd says, have you ever seen the voice cast? They didn't hire those people to say, over here or shotgun here. I think people are grossly underestimating what the game is offering. What are you talking about? What game are you talking about, House? The PUBG creator said it was his inspiration. I know Minecraft dropped first, I think. I believe the movie Battle Royale, because I've seen it. We watched it when I was in film school. Battle Royale movie, let me see. Yeah, it came out in 2000, right? It came out in 2000, right? Yes, it might have inspired it, but PUBG and stuff didn't come out until years later. And since then, it was Hunger Games, and Hunger Games, when it came out, is what made the actual, like, in 2012. So 12 years from Battle Royale to Hunger Games. And then Minecraft is the first one to do Battle Royale stuff. That did the Hunger Games stuff inside, where the chest was in the center and everyone ran in and got it and then tried to murder everybody, right? That was Hunger Games, I would say, is more inspiration of what Battle Royale than the PUBG guy. I mean, I get it. Inspiration's inspiration. Oh, for Marathon? So you're saying, have you seen the voice cast? They didn't hire those people to say over here or shotgun here. I think people are grossly underestimating what the game is offering. But will that streak continue? And the question, look to Suicide Squad for WB or other games for other studios. It only takes one to tank reputation. Oh, absolutely, Salty. This is why I've always said it's, what have you done for me lately? But to say that, well, we're taking a big risk, and you're taking much less of a risk as a giant studio than the guy making Cuphead, than the people making Expedition 33, right? You know what I mean? Much, much different than a huge corporation under a giant other corporation now. Let's go on, Michelle. There was you would have to ask Kingard. Kingard's a big fan of Alan Wake. I think I heard they're going to make a movie or a TV show for Control, but I'm not too sure. No risk, no reward for the smaller guys also. Right? They have to try it. They're like, hey, I have an idea. I'm gonna do a thing. Bigger guys are, The big guys are very, very in intention of what they're doing. They're like, all right, we're making Marathon, right? And look, they were making Marathon before Sony picked them up. Right? 6 to 8 years. Sony's only owned for 2, right? 2, 3 years now. Like, obviously, there's people that take risks and stuff. But to say they're taking risk and they're not getting paid is just absurd. They have a budget. They have a budget that they're spending. And if from the other article, if he's saying that Marathon's up to 9 figures, what are we talking about? Right? I mean, obviously it's millions, right? Marathon's got to be, it's got to be pushing 200, 250, 300 million dollars. There you go. Kinger's in here. He says there's been a show in the works supposedly for a while now for both Alan Wake and Control. No news since 2024 though. There you go. Yeah, I remember hearing that they were going to do something, but there's a lot of video game adaptations that they're doing, right? Talk about God of War and there's Lara Croft and there's a bunch of stuff. By a wild coincidence, I'm here. Okay, that's perfect. Perfect then. All right, let's go from the Marathon stuff. Let's go with the Marathon stuff to this Marathon video, shall we? This is coming from Hollow Tide. It's got 17,900 subscribers. It says, why most extraction shooters fail. Let's watch this. All the links are in the description down below for the videos we watch, for the news articles we cover. If you guys want to go to their channels, click on the link, give it a like, give it a follow, give it a sub. So let's watch this.
Actually die because they're bad games. They die because they... You know what's funny? Most extraction shooters don't actually die because they're bad games. They die because they slowly, quietly push away the exact people they need to survive.
Right off the bat, he's correct. Right off the bat, he's correct, right? Look at Battlefield right now, right? We're not even talking about an extraction. We're talking about Battlefield. Why is Battlefield's numbers cratering? Is because they're slowly pushing away, well, in their case, very fastly pushing away the people that actually wanted to play their game.
And the wild part is we've watched this happen over and over and over and over again. So when people ask me in the comments, will Marathon survive? Or when they say Marathon is dead on arrival, or that the extraction...
You're always going to get the people that are, black or white. This game's dead. This game, whatever. Most of us say it in a jokingly manner because especially of Concord and stuff that's out now. I've said that I think this game hits 150,000 concurrent on Steam. I think it does pretty well because, again, Marvel Rivals did well because there was a world before it, right? Fans of the comics, fans of the movies, fans of the shows, fans of the games. So when Marvel makes the exact same game as Overwatch, you're like, oh, this is dead on arrival, like Concord, but obviously it's not. It wasn't dead on arrival because it had a fan base that was there for Marvel. There's people that are a fan base of Bungie. Doesn't matter what Bungie does. Bungie has its fans. So when Bungie comes out, okay, they're going to have their fans that buy the game. And supposedly right now on Steam and stuff, it's a high on the top charts. It hit the top 5 or whatever. Okay. There's people that don't even like the PvP aspect of it. And they're like, I like Bungie, and they're going to purchase that game. And ironically, if you pre-ordered Marathon, there was a bug going on where it would download Destiny 2 for you. It would download Destiny 2 for you, even if you had it or not. I think they're fixing it now, but that's pretty funny.
Shooter genre is not popular, or it's too saturated, or whatever reason. I sit back and I think that it's not really about Bungie's talent to make the game or the budget behind it. I think it's more about...
That right there would actually be a cool
talent
looking
to
game.
make the game or the
Right here?
budget behind it.
If they did a side scroller like this, a multiplayer side scroller like this, I would be interested in that. Right? I would say I would be interested in that.
I think it's more about whether Marathon can dodge the same traps that have killed almost every other game in the genre. Extraction shooters are definitely a different type of game. A close friend that I have actually plays them and used a word that I thought was really applicable, and that's that they're cursed. They ask you for time and focus, emotional buy-in, and it makes me think that if they don't give it...
That's the same reason people like battle royales, right? Battle royales people like because it respects their time, because they're smaller portions of the game, and based on what you do during the game, it affects like your play style, right? So if you do more searching, you're going to find more weapons, more guns. You can find the thing. You engage with people. You can, confront them, take their stuff, and so on and so forth. You have that cycle of if I shoot someone and win, you have that endorphin kick into your head. I'm better than that person, so on and so forth.
Enough back, players don't just rage quit off the game. They stop logging in for good. And I think that's
also a problem, right? There's the one time we talk about it with Sea of Thieves, and Sea of Thieves is not even an extraction, but I make a lot of comparisons with Sea of Thieves because to me, Sea of Thieves is an extraction, right? You're a pirate trying to get treasure and you're trying to get back on your boat, which is the extraction point to get back to base, touching base before you lose all your shit. And that could be the best experience ever. You're like, man, that was so fun. We got a skeleton fort. We fought some ships. We killed a guy over there. We got back. We had millions of dollars of stuff, right? Of gold. You felt so good. But then there's a time that you have all the stuff. You sailed all across the thing, and someone was waiting for you at the port and destroyed you. And you're like, I'm never playing this game again. That is the best scenario. That's the worst case scenario. But that's the best description I can give you with any game of an extraction. Same with DZ when you play with Division. Same with Arc Raiders. You're like, I got all this stuff. I found the thing. You don't have a safe pocket. All of a sudden you're running. You're like, it's fine. You get to the extraction and someone, boom, kills you. And you're like, yeah, I'm done. Right? That's what happens with these type of games.
Quit off the game. They stop logging in for good. And I think that's the real danger. Now, looking at other extraction...
But extractions are also cheaper for the most part than a full-fledged game.
Shooter communities, and I see one of the same pitfalls in almost every single one of them, and that's there's always a gap, a massive, unbridgeable gap between people who can play 40 hours a week and...
That's gaming in general. A kid that goes to high school that is gone for the half the day and then comes home and they can just play video games from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and they get 6 hours, and all they have to do is stop to eat dinner, if that, okay? And then on the weekends, they play all this stuff. Those are kids, right? Adults, you work 8 hours, and you got stuff to do when you get home. You got to take care of your kids. You got to do stuff. So when you finally sit down and you have an hour, maybe an hour, or 2 hours, and as soon as you start turning that thing on, your wife, your husband says, hey, honey, can you do this for me? Right? You have very little time. So now your time, you need a game to respect your time. And I know people that are younger don't understand this because you're like, what does that mean, respect your time? Right? But as you get older and you start giving your time to other things in your life because you have responsibilities as an adult, and I get it, adult life, right? When I say a game needs to respect your time, it fundamentally, when they make a game and they're looking for clientele, they need to make the game respect people's time, regardless if you're a teenager, regardless if you're a young adult, or if you're a person that's a full-grown adult with the family and stuff. They have to respect your time.
And the people who play 40 hours a month, and the extraction.
Let me rewind here for a second.
A massive, unbridgeable gap between people who can play 40 hours a week.
It's definitely unbridgeable.
And the people who play 40 hours a month. And the extraction shooter genre, in my opinion, is built for that first group of people. So
sure, 100%. It's built for the people that can no-life it.
One post on Reddit that said, I only have so much time to play video games, so I like to play ones that feel like they're rewarding my time investment. I never feel like it. I can win. When I play an extraction shooter, I always feel like I'm going to lose. Yeah. My time investment.
And it's not about if they are losing or not. It's the feel. I don't feel like logging in to play Sea of Thieves. I don't feel like logging in to play Tarkov because it's like I could be wasting my time.
I never feel like I can win when I play an extraction shooter. I always feel like I'm going to lose. And I think that that's that wall that casual players hit in these games. You can't just hop on for a quick...
And going into that, right, as a gamer, you're like, well, tough shit, right? You're like, sorry, old man. Sorry, whoever. But as a business, you're trying to cast a wide net, right? A fisherman throws a net out there. Well, a fisherman uses a pole, but when they throw that net out there, they're trying to catch as many fish as possible in that net when they're bringing it in, right? Some slip through the cracks, some slip through the net or whatever, okay? And they pull it in, they have a bunch of people in that net. That's the player base, right? What happens over time, okay? This is why Marvel Rivals, I said they will add a PvE, and people are like, no, they're not going to add a PvE. They're not going to add PvE. This is a PvP game. This is a PvP game. PvP game. Meanwhile, they're adding PvE, and they're adding more PvE into that because when they casted the net, they thought they had their fish that they wanted, but more fish were outside of the net, and they're like, well, look, did you see all those fish we didn't capture? How do we capture those fish? Well, you use a bigger net. You throw the bigger net out there to try to get more fish. Well, Arc Raiders is doing the exact same thing, but they're doing it in a more sly pattern where people are like, no, it's a PvP VE game, but they emphasize the PvP. They're like, see, the developer said we put PvP because yes, you are correct. As the gamer, you're like, suck it up, buttercup. PvP is PvP and PvE is PvE. But as the business, they need the widest casted net possible because it adapts over time because some people start leaving. They're like, wait a minute, we had this many people playing our game. Why did this many people leave? So they have to start adjusting. Well, a lot of people didn't leave Arc Raiders. And why is that? Because aggressive-based matchmaking where people can be friendly in a map, okay? And they're not affecting the people that want to be PvP because PvP peers are playing against PvPers. But the PvE guys are like, oh, I know how to work the system. It's respecting my time. So they start playing that game more because it's respecting their time. Marathon is going the same route. It's going to be more casual, right? They're making their characters and stuff more casual. They're trying to put a wider net out there, not trying to get the niche. They're trying to get the casuals to come into their game and play.
Session in most extraction shooters, you need to know the maps, you need to know the meta loadouts, you need to understand the economy of the game, you need to keep up with patches and wipes. Miss a week, you're behind. Miss a month, you're pretty much done. Now, Arc Raiders seems to be trying to fix a couple of aspects with their no-wipe system and safe pockets for loot. And to me, that kind of says we don't want to really disrespect the player's time investment, but most games in this genre, they absolutely do. And that doesn't mean that Arc Raiders is getting it perfect either. So this is normally how it goes. At launch, everything's great. There's a ton of players. There's full lobbies. You've got a beautiful mix of skill levels between casuals and sweats, new players, all trying to figure out maps and the meta and everything like that. And then a few weeks
I think this is the new footage they showed, if I'm not correct.
pass, the casual players start leaving. And it's probably because they don't even hate the game. Maybe they're just tired. They die a lot. There's no feeling of improvement. Every session they have on the game starts to feel like a job to them. And once they start leaving, what happens? The player base starts to skew more towards the hardcore players.
Right, and if it skews towards the hardcore players, there's going to be a group of people that come in and start to filter into the hardcore players because they might catch the bug, right? Like my son playing Fortnite when he first started, he was dying left and right, didn't really enjoy it, but then he got his first win. Then he got his second win. Then he got his third win. Then he hit the bar again, where now he's going up against other people that also got 3-4 wins, right? Then he started beating them, and he got the bug, right? Now he's more of a very competitive person when he plays that type of game, okay? But then there's other games he plays that he doesn't want that. He's like, I don't want to be a sweat. Like, I don't want to put the time into that. So you filter in the small people, but then it becomes this walled-off garden, okay? It comes off this walled garden that the people that try to casually come in, they can't break in. As a business, this is terrible. as a player, you're like, well, good. I want to go up against the greatest people that I'm going against to see if I'm better at the game than them, right? But as a business, we're like, well, we're bleeding out, right? We're bleeding out. We have to figure something out here. How do we get these people to come back in the game? Hence why there's a balance in it, right? Hence why Destiny was successful, because it had PvE separated, but they should have separated it more because of the gun balance and stuff like that.
Everybody knows the maps. Everyone knows the meta. Everyone is listening for your footsteps from 3 buildings away. Every single fight you get in feels like a tournament final.
How does that guy not see
3
him?
buildings
Oh, that guy's down. Okay.
away.
He's reviving
Every
him. He comes in, he
single
stabs
fight you get
him.
in feels like a tournament final. And then what happens when new players show up? They get absolutely obliterated, and then they quit immediately. That's the spiral, and once it starts, it literally almost never reverses. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand when people talk about games are dead, this game's dead. It's really, they might have thousands of players online, but it's so hardcore that they can never...
Yeah, saying dead doesn't mean the game is dead, right? It's just a saying. It's dead. It's dead either to that person or dead to the masses, right? When you have, Starfield's dead, but it's not dead for the 1,000 people who are playing it, right? Or the 10,000 people that are playing across the thing, but it's dead to the majority of the people that were playing it originally.
Grow and have new fans start to play. I look at a game like Hunt Showdown that has been around since 2018. We're now in 2026, and that game has been around for years.
Yeah,
where most games are dying within months. And I think that game is considered a massive success. Does it have 100,000 people playing on Steam at one time? No, but the numbers that it does average is healthy, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, because it's healthy because the money that they're spending on that game is less than what they're bringing in, so it's successful.
Another game that I think back to is the Cycle Frontier, which launched in June of 2022.
Oh, I remember that game.
It had solid gameplay. People actually seemed to really like it. The reviews were good, and within 3 months, it lost over 90% of its player base. And I know I just made a video on why that doesn't really matter, but stay with me. I think that means something in this context because the developers basically admitted in the shutdown announcement that they couldn't solve the population problem fast enough. There were cheaters running rampant.
Well, that's always a problem. You're going to have cheaters in this. You're going to have cheaters in Call of Duty. You have cheaters in Battlefield. You have cheaters in Arc Raiders. You're always going to get cheaters because there's always someone trying to enjoy a game, but they suck at it. So they decided they wanted to cheat to make themselves feel better, and they don't care that they're shitting on other people's time, right? And they're like, oh, what's the big deal? And that's always going to be a thing. Always going to be a thing. But it's also not the majority of the population. But it feels like it sometimes.
Casual player base was just gone, and new players got farmed quickly by veterans. And by March 2023, they just shut down completely. That's 9 months. 9 months from...
That's better than 13 days. 9 months is better than 13 days.
From launch to closure. Again, once that spiral starts, you can't really beat it. Here's something else I found while researching this topic that honestly surprised me. There are Tarkov forums with multiple threads of grown adults who are talking about being afraid to get into a game. One person wrote, I have to amp myself up to play.
I have to amp myself up to play. I've wasted countless hours messing around in my stash and hideout, playing on raiding, but always find an excuse before hitting the ready button. I understand where this person's coming from, right? If you're a person, I've said this for Arc Raiders, right? Let's say you found a, Bobcat. You got a Bobcat, right? You're in week 7. You're looking for your project to finish. You haven't found the blueprint. You found the blueprint of the Bobcat, and now you're like, do I bring it in? I just got it. I don't want to lose it, right? I don't want to lose it, right? So there's people that have guns in their stashes in these type of games that don't want to use them because if they use them, they might lose them because they know that they're going to go up against someone that's going to be sweatier than them, and all they want to do is just use the weapons, use the thing. Now, I know someone's going to say, well, that's the game. The game is that you're going to lose your stuff. And I get that. But from the person's point of view that doesn't have that much time to play the game and they just got it after 7 weeks of playing the game, the amount of hours that they're playing, They're like, I don't want to lose it, so they don't bring it in. So then they're playing the game with these shittier weapons, and they're going to lose the stuff, and they get frustrated, and they just don't understand that if they use the weapon, they might have a better shot at killing that person. But at the same time, because they don't play PvP very often, they're going to get murdered super fast. So they would rather not bring in their best stuff into the thing because they know they're going to lose it, which then kind of ruins the game for them, right? It's just what it is.
I've wasted countless hours messing around in my stash and hideout, planning on raiding, but always find an excuse before hitting the ready button. Another said they had 7 guns in their stash, all the same.
There you go. 7 guns in their stash, all the same, but yet never uses them.
But they were too scared to use any of them. Just think about that. People are grinding for hours to get gear, and then they're too anxious to actually use it. That's not really...
Like, oh my God, I got the gun. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I got this gun. I got the gun. You're going to bring it in? No, it took me so long to get this gun. I don't want to lose it in 3 seconds.
Gear fear. That's the game creating so much psychological pressure that it's not even fun. When a game requires you to literally give yourself a pep talk to start playing.
Yeah, I totally understand. I totally understand the concept of it. I don't care, right? I mean, you saw me when I played Arc Raiders. I go, every time I bring an anvil in, I lose. I'm like, I'm not bringing anvils in anymore because I always lose them. Every time I find one, I'm like, I'm going to use it. So I use it and I lose, right? We don't get killed for like 3-4 matches. I'm like, oh, this is good. I'm gonna bring in the anvil now. I bring in the anvil, dead. And I'm like, I was like, son of a bitch, right? So now I don't bring anvils anymore. I bring in other weapons.
You're gonna lose the majority of people who just want to unwind after work. Going further down that rabbit hole, let's talk about wipes for a second. Tarkov has it. It resets everyone's progress. Every few months, they start fresh, new content stuff. There's a lot of hype around it. That sounds great, right? But play...
No, it doesn't. I said what I said before Arc Raiders came out and did what they did. I stand by what I said. I said people will not reset because they don't want to waste their time. It feels like a waste of time. I played for 7 weeks, forever how many hours that is, if it's 10 hours, if it's 100 hours, if it's 3,000 hours, whatever it is, they feel like they waste their time. I was right. The people that told me I was going to be wrong because that's why people play the game is to reset. Sorry, 12.5 million people bought the game. Just over 1 million people did the reset. And I think there'll be less this time because they know it's not worth it. Hence why the company is trying to figure out what they could put in the game to get people to do the reset for the expeditions.
Players have to grind hard at the start of a wipe. Like, it almost seems unhealthy the amount of hours that people are putting in.
Oh, I know, Brain. I know, Brainchild. That's why I want to use the anvil. When I bring the anvil in, I'm like, I want to use it. But then I lose it every single time. And I'm like, and every time I find one, I'm like, okay, I have it. I'm going to bring it in next time. And then I lose it again.
Because if you don't, you're going to fall behind, and falling behind it. And
let me rewind here for a second.
To grind hard at the start of a wipe. Like, it almost seems unhealthy the amount of hours that people are putting in. Because if you don't, you're going to fall.
Doesn't it feel good, though, when you can put it in that time? Because you're just respecting your time, right? It's two sides, right? The person that's putting in the time feels like their time is being respected. The people that can't put in the time, they don't feel like their time's being respected, right? You see that? You see what I'm saying? So the people that can put the time in are like, man, this feels good. This game's respecting my time. But the people that don't have the time to put the time in, they're like, this game is not respecting my time because every time I feel like I'm doing something, I lose it.
Behind, and falling behind in an extraction shooter is basically a death sentence for your enjoyment. People start getting burned out. The grind becomes a chore. Players who achieve their goals.
Once it becomes a chore, that's basically you've seen The Wizard, right? That my analogy, right? Dorothy went to the Wizard of Oz. She thought it was the great, most powerful wizard. But then Toto said, oh, look behind the curtain. She pulled back the curtain. You're like, oh, you're just a regular guy. When you play a game, it doesn't matter what game it is, and you happen to see the wizard, and you're like, immersion's broke, and that's it. You might as well just move on to play a different game.
Kind of just stop playing. People get burned out trying to get this gear, and then they don't want to use it, and then they don't log in. But then they know that there's going to be a wipe happening, and these issues just kind of stack on top of each other. Now, I know everybody likes to blame having gear fear. People quit because they're scared to lose their loadout, and I don't think that's necessarily completely true to me, personally, and to other people I've talked to.
Oh, absolutely, Albany. If a person wants to play 3,000 hours, that's their business, 100%. I'm not making fun of the person that's playing 3,000 hours. What I'm saying is the people that can put the time in, they're putting the time in it because they feel like the game is respecting their time. They're like, I'm putting an hour in. I went up this much. I feel like I'm progressing, and they keep doing that thing, right? I'm playing Hightail right now. The reason I like playing Hightail is because I can visually see me progressing in the game. If it's leveling up a tier of my bench, making a new sword, finding new iron, whatever it is, making a full set, finding a new location, it's constantly giving me feed dopamine. So I can put 3,000 hours in that game and be like, it's respecting my time, right? Where if I go back to another game, I'm like, it's the same shit everywhere I go. It doesn't feel the same, right? So it doesn't matter. If you're putting that time in, it's respecting your time because you feel like it's respecting your time. But if you don't have the time to put in, and that hour that you work, 55 minutes, you're going around and that dopamine's hitting you, and then the last 5 minutes of your hour, you get ganked and destroyed and lose everything, then what was the other 55 minutes for? They're like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
I think that most players are fine losing their gear as long as they understand why they lost.
In Arc Raiders, I'm okay with it. I said it when we played with Mr. Luke, right? I was like, the gear I find is not mine. I'm borrowing it, right? And if I lose it, it's no big deal. That's the way I went into Arc Raiders. I'm okay losing the gear because it's not my gear.
Problem is when you die instantly, you don't know from where, you don't know what you did wrong, you don't know what you're supposed to take from that death. You're just confused and frustrated and you've lost your gear. A quote that I saw that I think nailed this was, "It's not fun to be punished for losing.
Yep.
Especially when the only reward for winning is obtaining items you will eventually lose anyway." So once you start losing and losing and losing, and there's nothing you can really learn from this, I think that people check out. And once a player feels like they're just a loot farm for some other players, I think they're gone. I think they're quitting the games. Now let's look at Marathon. And Marathon to me makes it seem like it's trying to make extraction shooters accessible. And on paper, that does sound smart, but as we've talked...
What did he say there?
And Marathon to me makes it seem like it's trying to make extraction shooters accessible. And on paper...
Because the amount of money that they've thrown into this game, they have to cast the widest net possible to have the best circumstances where they make the money back, right?
That does sound smart, but as we've talked about before on this channel, a game made for everyone is a game made for no one. Looking at...
But if the game's made for casuals, right? If the casuals, you're saying, just enough says 80-20 sounds impossible to expect a PvE lobby, right? If 80% of the people are PvEers, casual players that were, let's be honest, the majority of the people that played Destiny were PvEers. There was PvPers, and there's a sway of both, right? But let's just say it's 60-40, right? 60-40. If you had to choose 60 or 40, what player base would you rather go for? The 60 or the 40? If the 60 is the PvE and the 40 is the PvP, well, obviously the 60 is bigger than 40, so these people might spend more money than these people over here, okay? So you're like, well, the best possible thing, if it costs $300 million to make this game, and we can get the 60% over the 40%, they're going to pick 60 because they have a better shot of getting their money back, right? So this is why they're going for more casual base for their extraction, because they have a shit ton of money behind this thing. They spend a lot of money, and they have to get the widest net possible to make that money back.
Tarkov and all its ammo types, all its different stats, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't even have an in-game map. It kind of just goes against everything that regular game design and philosophy at this point has. It just goes the other way. But Tarkov survives, and I think that it's because it's so complex. I think just learning the game feels like you're almost beating the game. It's so punishing, and you're constantly put at odds that the people who stick with it are just fanatically devoted to the game.
Yeah, but that's always going to be everything. The kid that learns to play baseball more than the other eight kids on the team, you have a superstar on your team because he's infatuated with learning the game of baseball. Not just hitting the bat against the ball or throwing the ball to the catcher, right? He knows everything. When a ball gets hit in the outfield, where his position is, where he goes, where he's a cutoff man. Like they infatuate with anything and everything, right? If you start working out, you know every aspect of every muscle inside the body and how to do it right and how to do it what's wrong, right? There's no difference in someone playing a video game and someone infatuating and becoming the best of the best, right?
Game. And I think maybe Bungie looked at that and said, let's do the exact opposite. And we've all heard about the player test where people from the Tarkov community were like, no, I'm not going to play this game and stuff. I don't like it. And I think that that's a sure sign that what they're doing is the
Tarkov didn't cost as much as what Marathon paid. They don't need to make as much money as Marathon.
opposite. Simple systems, lower stakes, more accessible. I believe I saw a review that said Marathon's attempt at approachability has resulted in a game that lacks depth. It's trying to be an extraction shooter for people who don't like extraction.
Well, there's another conversation we can have. That's a great quote there on the screen, right? Marathon's attempt to approachability has resulted in a game that lacks depth. It's trying to be an extraction shooter for people who don't like extraction shooters, right? You're trying to make a game. Star Wars did this. Kathleen Kennedy should be the CEO of Bungie right now. She tried to get a fan base that wasn't fans of the actual thing. Okay? They're trying to get extraction shooter fans that are not extraction shooter fans because they're chasing a trend. They saw the trend. They saw the thing. They're like, let's make a game like this because it's popular. Maybe we can do it. And they're trying to do it. Okay? Again, as we just said before, go out there, try it. Okay? Maybe it'll change. Look at Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders, no one thought Arc Raiders was going to be as big as it is. People thought it was going to be successful, but they had no idea it was going to be as successful as it is. Right? So now the extraction shooter landscape has changed. So now they're looking at Marathon, and they're not comparing it to just Tarkov and Hunt Showdown. They're comparing it to the King right now, which is maintaining for 3 months 400,000 people, right, inside the game, month after month after month, going, hey, this has got to match with that, because Arc Raiders is a casual extraction compared to all the other extractions. And now this one's competing with Arc Raiders, trying to be also a casual extraction.
And shooters. And that is worrisome because once you take away all the things that make the genre special, you really end up with something that probably doesn't appeal to anyone. Another issue is cheaters.
Yeah, I don't give a shit if this is old footage or not. We're not talking about the graphics or anything like that. We're just talking about the fundamentals of the game.
And I think that they hit extraction shooters way harder than most other games. I think of people who play Call of Duty or Halo or something like that, and you get into a lobby with some loser who is using wall hacks. You either leave the game, you're annoyed, but then you requeue and you start over. But in an extraction shooter, they waste your progress, your time, your loot, your motivation. And I think that once
it feels good in the beginning, and then it slowly nicks at you, and then it kind of just fades away. And what's the next game coming out?
Players start thinking that people are cheating, it hurts the game even more because you're constantly like, is that person cheating? I don't want to use my gear. Why bother gearing up if I'm just going to get
free loadouts, right? Why go in if I'm going to get killed? I'm just going to bring in a free loadout.
Headshot anyway by somebody using a wall hack. And then that trust is gone. And I think, really, trust is everything in this genre. Again, looking at the cycle, once the player base had dwindled down, every time you were killed, you just assumed it was somebody that was cheating. But Marathon is not free to play. There is a $40...
$40, I know what he's going to say here. I know what he's going to say. Because he's leading up to people that are playing with cheaters. And he's saying Marathon's going to be $40, and because it's $40, it's going to sway people from cheating. Exhibit A, Arc Raiders, $40, and cheaters are running rampant inside the thing.
Price tag to get in, so that will definitely deter cheaters. I think that that's important.
Cheaters are paying $100 for a subscription service to cheat. They're buying devices for $100. They're paying monthly fees so they can cheat. The $40 is nothing.
Because you can't just ban.
You can't put a price tag on joy, right? The people that want to shit and cheat inside these games want to shit and cheat so they can make other people feel like shit. You can't put a price tag on that for people. They're like, what is it? $200? Yeah, all right, I'll do it. Right? And then pretend they're good at the game. They're LARPers.
And cheaters fast enough. I think that players have to go in and think they have this perception that you have prevented cheating from the get-go. Because once everybody starts thinking, oh, I'm just getting headshot by a cheater, you lose people again. Now, obviously, every extraction shooter,
every PvP game is like that. Every single one. This is not a marathon problem. This is a online problem.
Is not doomed. Hunt Showdown has been running for years again. Arc Raiders, as of now, is doing incredible. Even Tarkov is successful. But there have been so many games that have sprung up and just disappeared over the years. I think that Marathon needs to figure out how it's not just going up against Tarkov or Arc Raiders. It's going up against burnout and genre fatigue. And while I do think that people are skeptical about the game,
is there genre fatigue for extractions? I don't know where people are getting the fatigue or saturation of extractions. I get there's a lot of extractions coming out, but is there an extraction for single player? Is there a fatigue for single player games? Is there fatigue for sports games? Is there fatigue for a game that comes out every single year multiple times? I just don't believe in that. I don't believe there's fatigue for any of that.
Because of Bungie and recent bad press, they're also skeptical because if they've come from the genre, they've been burned before. So many games have promised something and delivered nothing. Anthem, The Division's Dark Zone, Call of Duty's DMZ, feels like every time a studio...
That's an industry problem. That's not a genre problem. That's an industry problem, which we talk about every single day right here, 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Okay? Games coming out that are broke, buggy, and unfinished. That is not a extraction problem. That's not a battle royale problem. That's not a single-player game problem. That is a industry-wide problem.
Says, we're going to revolutionize this genre. It ends the same way, and it's all this hype, a disappointing launch, and then a death. So while Bungie is saying Marathon is different, and they're showing all these things off that makes it different, players have heard that song before. And to me, Marathon doesn't need to be perfect. I think it just needs to be fair. I think they need to be able to have players learn the systems and feel good about that. But can they pull that off? Now, I know a lot of people are probably thinking, Tarkov's been around for forever and it's fine. And yeah, you're right, sort of. I think that Tarkov has staying power because it doesn't care about being accessible. It's just so aggressively niche. And the people who love it really...
It's niche, but at the same time, here's another niche in the industry, right? Trucking sims. Trucking sims are niche, okay? If it's American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, but look how many simulator games come out. It's a niche, but when you put a building block down, it's one block and it's a niche. But then when you put 2 blocks and 3 blocks and 5 blocks and 10 blocks, now you have a house built of niches of there's people out there that like this one game in this genre. There's this game that people like in this genre, okay? So when you say Tarkov is a niche, it is a niche, but now there's 6 niches, 10 niches of I like this extraction, which is Marathon. I like this extraction, which is Arc Raiders. I like this one that's Showdown. I like this one that's Tarkov, right? So now the genre might be niche, but at the same time, it becomes less of a niche every time a new game comes out and it's successful and finds someone, because maybe someone doesn't like the horror genre and they wanted the more sci-fi genre, or they wanted the more fantasy genre, right? That's the thing. Hence why you look at Overwatch, you look at Marvel Rivals, People are like, Overwatch is okay, but I really like this because it's Marvel, right? It's all about what the people like. If you give me a Transformers game like Destiny, I'm going to go play the shit out of that. That got closed down, right? But I would play the shit out of it because I'm interested in Transformers.
Really love it, and it was also one of the first extraction shooters out there, so it does have that kind of bias. I think Marathon is not the same as Tarkov at all. Marathon is being made by Bungie, the studio known for Halo and Destiny. Yep. Their games have pulled in millions of...
Also, not the same people, by the way. Bungie, people that are working there now, didn't make Halo. They didn't make Halo 2, Halo 3. They didn't make Destiny 1. Maybe some people did. A lot of different people are at the studio now.
Players. They're not just aiming for the Tarkov audience because that doesn't work for their budget. That whole business model is not going to make enough money. Marathon needs to be more accessible than Tarkov, but it has to keep that same tension that makes extraction shooters feel interesting. But with all that being said, I don't think Marathon is doomed. But I also don't think the hype matters as much as people think it does.
I think this gets a leeway because Bungie is such a known brand and they make good games. A lot of people that don't follow podcasts like this, they don't know the difference. They see Bungie like, oh, Bungie made Halo. Bungie made Destiny. And they will buy this. And then the people that love Destiny, right, that love Bungie, they're going to buy this. Again, I don't think this is going to be a Concord. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It'll be popular, but I think it'll die off quick. And then if it dies off quick, Sony and Bungie announce Destiny 3 within the next 6 months. By the end of this year, I'll say more than 6 months, but within this year, they will, even though they said they're working on it, okay, they will officially say Destiny 3 is in production, and this is what they're working on. This is around for 2 years. I'll say the exact same thing I said about Marvel Rivals. Everyone's like, oh, Marvel Rivals was dead. I'm like, Marvel Rivals is here for at least 2 years. Minimum 2 to 5. This is around for 2, right? I think this is around for 2. Regardless if it gets numbers like Splitgate 2 6 months from now, this game is here for 2 years because Sony needs it to be here for 2 years. They killed Concord off so they can make this one survive.
If Bungie can keep that casual player base throughout the coming months, keep that ecosystem healthy instead of just top-heavy, Marathon has a shot. But they need to solve the problems that other games in this genre have had. The time investment issue, the population spiral, burnout, perceptions of cheat.
I like to put a little stipulation to what you said there, House. You said, yeah, but they're named because Bungie makes games that are awesome. Bungie makes games that are awesome 6 years after they come out. Destiny wasn't awesome when it came out. It was awesome by the time it ended. Destiny 2 wasn't awesome when it launched. It's a much better game now than it was when it launched. Okay? So yes, because you're a fan of Bungie, and I know you are a fan of Bungie, you'll defend them because you're blinded by they're just the exact same as a Call of Duty, as a Battlefield, as a BioWare, as a Assassin's Creed. The game launches. It's not in any state that it should be in when it launches, and it gets better over time. 18 months, 24 months, that's when the game gets better. But we like to close our eyes and pretend that the game is hunky-dory because you're having fun. But really, the game isn't ready for launch. It should take another 18 months to bake in the oven.
Power creep, and if they can't, I don't think Marathon will fail in some dramatic shutdown announcement. I just think it'll slowly fade out, a whisper. Players will stop logging in, the game will be empty, and that's how most extraction shooters die.
That's how most of any game dies, what you just said.
Announcement. I just think it'll slowly fade out, a whisper. Players will stop logging in, the game will be empty, and that's how most extraction
Destiny 1 lost 84% of their player base, Crowded. 84% of their player base. They played the campaign and left. They didn't come back until Taken King. And after that,
shooters die. I think the question isn't whether Marathon will be good, it's whether it can keep people playing long enough to find out. That's going to do it for the video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below. Make sure you sub to the channel if you want more Marathon content. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.
There you go. Good video. Interesting video. All right. I think Marathon, like I said, we'll see when it comes out. I think it'll be a hit with the streamers and stuff like that, and then it'll get traction because of Bungie fans, and then it'll slowly fade off because they don't do anything different. But Destiny 1 was a huge success. Great. So you're just proving my point, right? Game comes out, not finished, right? Remember, they changed Destiny 1 within 13 months of actual launching. Completely reworked the entire thing. The game didn't work. It was broke, right? In some places. And they held it together with like twine for a year until they actually made the game better, which is 12 months afterwards. And not until they put the actual patches in and stuff like that after Taken King came out as well, which would be another about 4 months after. So you're at like 16 months. And then it was very successful. Right? So again, rewarding a company for making a game that's a half-assed game when it comes out. Of course it's successful. And they don't have to fix it because they can take their sweet-ass time because now they have the money that was funded to them by the people that thought the game was awesome. But really, you paid for a less product. Right? And I'm not saying like you, right? Because we did it. I did it. Right? Division 1 was successful, but yet wasn't successful until they made all the changes and fixes 18 months afterwards. No Man's Sky was broke when it came out. 18 months later, it was fixed. Guess why? Because they made a shit ton of money. Cyberpunk, make all its money back before day one. Broke for 2 years.
Peace.
All right, let me see what you guys are saying up here. Salty says, you've been, Tarkov sat in a loading screen to dive 5 minutes, then back to stash. At least Ark is casual and everything is easily accessible to obtain. I've never really played Tarkov, so I don't really know. Like, you sit there, mess around with your... I watched Burt Peanut play it, and I was like, yeah, this is not for me. Sitting on 8 guns of the same guns, not using is crazy. I mean, I get it. Crowd says, somebody on Marathon podcast claimed that Joe Ziegler said that they were aiming for an 80-20 win rate. An 80-20 win rate? How would that even work? How would that even work? So you're telling me I go into a game, right? How many people are supposed to be in the game at one time? Right? 10 people? 10 people? One person wins 80% of the time? What are the other people doing? If it's 80-20, those people are leaving faster than ever before. Ray says PvP won't buy microtransactions because they love stealing more than they're working. I think the PvE characters are tough and designed to keep players occupied so there's less third partying. You mean like what Warzone did? Or, I'm sorry, the DMZ did for COD? Or what, you know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of third party. Look at Arc Raiders. Salty says, I have the same mentality when playing an ASM game, learning the fun side for me. And then once I have it all the knowledge, then I capitalize on this and useless. It's gripping. Salty also says novelty begins to fade, and eventually I check out. Yeah, but that's every game, right? That's every game. There's no fatigue. It's just on people's minds because they also are there seeing probably. Tarkov isn't niche. It's a life decision. The amount of information that you need to understand if they created their very own wiki page after everything in the game, it's bloated. There are many devs on Marathon that have also been in a Bungie for a long time. D2 team is different for sure. Sure, but even the people that are working on working on Marathon have never made an extraction game before in their entire life. If they worked for Bungie, because they made Halo and they made Destiny and stuff like that, so it's brand new for them. Altered says it's the name 30, the name. Just Enough says, it also don't want to announce D3 because people would stop spending in D2. Well, funny enough, you say that. They were supposed to make an announcement for Destiny 2 for the expansion or whatever else was coming out, but Marathon's coming out 3 days later. So they postponed what they were going to do because obviously I don't think they want people to play Destiny 2. They want people to play Marathon. They're going to eat their own lunch if they announce something for Destiny 2. Because they need all the people from Destiny that are supporters to come over to play Marathon. Crowd says, because Marathon's been developed by the old-fashioned way by big, burly men, and Destiny 2 is being developed by blue-haired people. So all the men went over to Marathon? Is that what it is? Salty says Division 1, they lied to us what they showed us at E3. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I played at Watch Dogs 1. I didn't play after Watch Dogs 2. Remember that one? Was it Watch Dogs 2 or 3 where you could switch and be like the old people and like the grandpa or the grandma? Was that 2 or 3? Remember how they marketed that? They're like, you could be anybody. And everyone was playing as grandma. Watch Dogs 2? Okay. Yeah. Everyone's like, you could be anybody. You could be anybody in the world. But yet everyone was just being grandma. When they showed it, I was like, yeah, everyone's just going to be grandma because it's funny. Why would I be a regular person when I can be what's it called? When I can be grandma? Oh, that's it. Legions. Which is the third one, right? Jack says, what if they delayed the expansion for Destiny 2 because Marathon as an excuse? No, I'm being serious. I think the reason they're delaying the expansion for Destiny 2 is because they don't want people to go play Destiny 2, because if new expansion comes out, that's less people that can go play Marathon. Time is time. If you only have 5 hours a week to play and you announced a brand new Destiny, and I've been playing Destiny 2 since 2017, guess what? I'm not going to play a new Marathon extraction shooter that I don't know if I'm going to like or not. I'm going to play the expansion of the thing that I've been paying a lot of money for over the last decade. Right? So it makes sense for them to stop and go, oh yeah, we're not going to talk about that yet. We're going to wait until after Marathon comes out. Because they need you to go spend your $40 on that thing. I mean, it's got to be. All right, let's see what's else going on here. We got 2 stories. We got Netflix. And we got CGI stuff. Okay, let's go to Netflix. So apparently Netflix, if you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button. I need to present well on that free weekend or it's over. They need to present it well on the free weekend or it's over. Present what well? The Destiny? Is that what you're talking about, Destiny? Like Crowded said, the free weekend of Marathon will tell me if it's worth... Oh, are they doing a free weekend for Marathon? I mean, I'm not playing it. Are they really doing a free weekend for Marathon? So everyone can play Marathon? Oh, they don't feel like they have enough support then. Are they seriously doing a free weekend? open beta. Oh, before the game comes out. They're doing an open beta before the game comes out so they can see if people want to. Got it. That means there's, even though it's number 5 on the Steam charts, it's not enough. It's not enough. They need a lot more people to give it a shot and go, oh yeah, this is totally worth it. I don't know, man. I'll tell you. I always find it funny that when they make a game, let me pull this off the screen real fast, right? When they make a game, they're like, hey, guys, like, remember, this is like 6 years ago. They're like, hey, guys, let's make an extraction game. And they're like, yeah, that sounds good. And then all of a sudden, 5 other studios make an extraction game, and they all happen to come out the exact same time. So, like, right now, there's people working on what came out a couple years ago that was a big success. Was a big success. Right? Are there going to be like 5 other clones for Expedition 33 4 years from now? Like all of a sudden, all these companies are going to come out with an Expedition 33? I mean, obviously, I know the answer is yes. Yes, they are, because they're like, oh, that's what people want. It always boggles my mind that you could go left when everyone's going right, but you're like, no, we all have to go left. Roic says, it'll be funny if it turns out to be like the one for Concord. Well, here's the thing. Say what you want about Destiny, okay? Or say what you want about Bungie, I should say. Bungie makes things, they know how to hype stuff up. They make great trailers to hype you up. And the gunplay feels fantastic, no matter what game you play of theirs. That's enough to capture a lot of people to pay the money and then go, oh, you know what? There's not much here, right? We'll see. We'll see what happens. Arc Raiders did the same thing, though? Correct, because they didn't know they had people interested, so they had to do it. There wasn't enough interest. You do understand, Crowded, that when people gave it a sample, they liked it, and they're like, I don't know. But then the hype started for Arc Raiders, and then more people bought the game, right? You understand how that works? They didn't think there was going to be people that bought it. Hence why there was an article saying, we made it $40 because of Helldivers. And we had to put it out there because they didn't know that they had enough interest in it. And then now their extraction for Bungie, as the article we just read, they don't know if it's going to be, they're like, this is a big risk. So there's not enough interest in it. And if there was interest in it, Arc Raiders, I think, took that wind out of the sail. Right? Because, again, now if you're a person that's playing Arc Raiders, why am I going to leave Arc Raiders to go play Marathon? Right? If you're enjoying Arc Raiders, which, let me see. Right? And again, people that like Arc Raiders, maybe they like the tone, maybe they like the stuff. Okay, and maybe they want to go to sci-fi, fantasy, whatever. But this is not a mistake here. Okay, there's more people buying the game from December 15th and playing the game. Okay, and you can see it goes up and it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. They're still maintaining almost 300,000 people in 24 hours. Don't most games do it? No, most games don't do a open beta and stuff. We actually talk about this all the time on the channel. More games need to do demos. More games need to do open betas so people can play their game. Hence why people like Game Pass, because they can play a game before they purchase the game if they want to. Salty says Marathon's open beta playtest is expected to take place in mid-February 2026, while Bungie is yet to announce the exact date and time for the beta. The March 5th release date suggests February. Well, I can see them doing like the week before, right? The week before, because you want to get it when they come in hot. I mean, look at Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 did it. Tricked a lot of people. Tricked a lot of people. They're like, man, that beta was good. A lot of people bought Battlefield 6. And here we are. Here we are. Here we are. There we are. There's Battlefield 6 for you. A lot of people bought Battlefield 6. You got to capitalize on it. This is marketing 101, unless you're High Guard. Yeah, High Guard's free to play, so they're like, we don't need to have a beta test or anything. It's free to play anyway. Just try it out. Crowd says, well, most every streamer that plays Ark and likes it still frustrated by third person. They're all at least going to invest some time into Marathon. If it sucks, they'll leave. It's what it is. Of course. Look, you can't base it off streamers. You cannot base if a game is going to be successful off streamers. Streamers play the game regardless because they have to keep the money coming in and be relevant. Unless you're me, and I just do what the fuck I want and I don't give a shit. Okay? But they're going to play the next latest, greatest game because, Tim the Tap Man, can't we just have this one? Can't we just have a battle royale for Battlefield 6? Played it for 2 days and then never came back to the game, right? Played Ark Raiders, right? So if Marathon is the next fantastic game that people show interest in, then they'll play that thing. If the viewership's down, guess what? They are fucking out. If they put Marathon in and the viewership's not there, they are fucking done, and they go back to Ark Raiders because Ark Raiders has a new update, new season, new expedition, new guns, whatever it is, right? You can't base it off of, oh, well, they're going to go over. Of course they're going to go over. But are the people that actually matter going to go over? Because most of these people that are going to play Marathon are going to be bought and paid for to play Marathon. Invited, given a code, flown out. You can't do that. It's silly. But if they like it, it will help immensely. Sure. No, it doesn't matter if they like it. If the game is good, then people will play it. If the game is bad, it doesn't matter if a streamer says it's good or bad. When someone gets tricked by the streamer to say, hey, play this game, it's the greatest game ever, and then they buy it, and then they play it and go, this game is not good. That's on the streamer, right? You can get tricked to buy a game, but a game sells the game. If the game is good, right, they would have a better shot of, like, the beta. If people try the beta, then say, oh, well, Tim the Tap Man or Shroud likes this game, so I'm going to like this game as well. Right. People like us, which is not me, because I'm not like them, okay, are here, we're billboards. That's what we are. Instead of driving down the road and looking up and seeing a billboard, going, oh, that game's coming out, instead of going to the movie theater and seeing a play of a trailer, we are the billboard. If a new game comes out and every streamer's playing it, guess what? Hey, this next hour or 2 hours is brought to you by, thanks for the code, they're billboards. It's ridiculous. And of course, Bungie's going to pay it. Of course, EA pays it. Mo says, chew your own food, people. Yeah, no, a beta's great. If they put a beta out, it's because they're like, well, a lot of people are not interested in this game. Well, let's put a beta out right before the game comes out. Let's put a beta. People play and go, the gunplay is really good. Movements feels good. You know, maybe I'll play this. But then they have to decide, oh, man, I got this other game that's coming out. Oh, well, this other game's coming out. When does Crimson Desert come out? What day does Crimson Desert come out? Crimson Desert comes out in March, right? Marathon comes out March 5th. Crimson Desert comes out the 19th, right? So for streamers, You're going to see them play Marathon. Then they're going to move over to any kind of update that comes out. Then they're going to play Crimson Desert. Then they're going to play Mouse PI. Then they're going to play First Light. And that's just March alone. Time is time. Crimson Desert just went gold. Yeah, Crimson Desert comes out March 19th. So you have 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks to play Marathon, and then people are going to move on to Crimson Desert. Doesn't matter if it's single player, PvP, extraction, doesn't matter. Time is time. People have this amount of time to play a game. They see that game. They're like, I want to put time into that game, which means they're not playing other games. Aku says Marathon's going to have a short life. Not as short as High Guard or Concord, but still short. I think it's going to be here for 2 years. I do. I truly believe that. I think Sony has to have Marathon be relevant for 2 years to get their money's worth, right? Right? They'll be here for 1 full year. I do not believe, and I will say I'm 100% wrong if it happens. Marathon will not die like Concord. It might not be as popular as Arc Raiders. It might be as popular as Arc Raiders. It might die off fast, but it's here for at least a year, max 2, before they go, all right, we're done with this one. I don't think I know. I don't know what it is about free-to-play games, but I can never stick with them. It's because, well, I don't know about you. I know if when I play, like, I don't know, if someone gives you something, right? If someone gives you a toy when you're a kid and then you buy a toy for yourself, okay? You take more responsibility over the thing you bought than the thing that you were given, right? A lot of people don't treat things that they get with the same respect as they got, unless it's in circumstances where they don't really have much and someone gives them something and then they treasure that thing. But if you're a person that has a lot of stuff and you're given to it, they don't treat it as that, right? You don't have any substance in the actual thing, so you don't give a shit, right? So when you play a free-to-play game, no loss. If it's good or bad, you play it. You're like, oh, but if you buy a $60, $70 game while you're playing the free-to-play game, you're like, I paid $70 for this. It needs my time because I paid money for it thing. So you stop playing the free-to-play thing to go play the thing that you bought because you bought it, because you earned the money to buy that thing. That's why. Roic says, I agree with Sony behind it. It'll be around for a while. Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere. Even if it's a failure, let's say it's a failure, they will pivot and try to fix it to make it last. They need it to be out for at least 2 years. Same. I've not been back to Rivals since Gambit and Deadpool got introduced. I haven't played Deadpool yet. That came out Friday, though. If you go look at my games, every game that I get, free to play, buy it, whatever it is, I put an average of time between 60 and 120 hours in. Once I hit that point, I kind of move on. Mo's screaming over here. I'm still with TFD, which is the First Descendant. Going strong also on Path of Exile 2. It's amazing as well. Y'all should be try them both. A lot of content has been also added since the launch, just saying. We also don't know what Bungie's measurement for success are with Marathon. I don't think the game is an automatic failure. It doesn't do Arc Raiders numbers. I didn't say it was. Never said that. Never. Me personally, I've never said that. I said their concurrent would be about 150,000 on Steam. Yeah. I think it's going to be successful, but successful to the public eye or successful for them? We don't know the budget. I think Arc Raiders probably cost $150 million. I think Marathon costs more to $250 to $300 million. Arc Raiders has been in development for 4 years. Anthem's been together, or Marathon's been in development for 6 to 7. I think Marathon needs Arc Raider numbers. And then we don't even know what the cosmetics and stuff are going to cost. I would assume standard price, everything else. $14, $12, $14, $15, maybe $20, $25. All right, next story. Netflix switches to all-cash $27.75 offer to Warner Brothers Discovery to block Paramount hostile bid. Okay. So it says, in a continuing battle over Warner Brothers, Netflix has upped the stakes against Paramount by charging its bid to an all-cash offer. Cash is king. It's always been king. Something was said to have been planning for at least a week. According to Deadline, the move maintains the price Netflix offered for Warner Brothers, $27.75 per share, although it removes the $4.50 in Netflix stock per share. The counter is Paramount's all-cash proposal, effectively removing one of the benefits of Paramount's offer to the shareholders, who now face an even tougher decision over the coming months. Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery, in a board of favors Netflix buyout, said that Netflix all-cash offer provides enhanced certainty by eliminating market-based variables. Okay, since Netflix was declared the winner, it's a quest to acquire Warner Bros. In early December. Paramount has staged a series of attempts to get Warner Bros. Discovery shareholders, who will ultimately decide the company's fate, well, which they should, to disregard the company's board and instead accept Paramount's offer. These have included a proxy war, a hostile takeover, and a cash guarantee from Paramount CEO Dave Ellison's father, Oracle CEO Larry Ellison. Okay, or Ellison. Also, lawsuit against Warner Bros. Discovery seeking to force the company to disclose information about Netflix deal. So the Warner Bros. Discovery sale has been continuously processed, particularly between Netflix and Paramount, and the other serious bidder, Comcast, which also owns Universal, was seamlessly left in the dust by the two frontrunners. Netflix offers, as was Warner Bros. Only, with the movie library and HBO as acquisitions, which would support the company's split. Warner Bros. Discovery CEO Dave Zaslav wants. Paramount, on the other hand, wants the entire company, including the cable channels that would also come with Discovery, such as CNN. As the two companies battle for control, and Warner Brothers is possible spoiler in the race, is the government. President Trump is understood to be a friend of Ellison's family, although recently denied this. There's also have been signals from the White House that Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers would raise antitrust concerns because Netflix would have too much power over Hollywood. But how does that work? Right? And I'm asking you guys, right? How does it not go the other way, where if Paramount buys Warner Brothers, how do they not have too much power over Hollywood? Do you know what I mean? I'm seriously asking the question, because why does Netflix all of a sudden destroy? I mean, obviously Netflix can say, I don't want to put it in, they put it on Netflix and whatnot, but Paramount can do the exact same thing. But because Netflix is the number one, right? Because Netflix is the number one streaming service, they would be overpowered. But if Paramount does it because they're like number 4 in the streaming service wars, that it would be better for them. I just don't understand this. Right? I don't know. I think it's funny. It's like, we're allowed to own certain much, but this is too much. The problem with this is Netflix is not as powerful, but when they get this, now they're super powerful. This deal to me reminds me of the Activision Blizzard deal with Microsoft and PlayStation trying to fight them. It so eerily similar to these two, right? Paramount used the threat the difficult regulatory process of another reason to sell them instead of Netflix when they made the appeal to shareholders, arguing that Warner Bros. Discovery stock would be worth less after the making any follow-up offers weaker by default. The idea was that Paramount's offer, though, for less money than Netflix, was ultimately the best they could hope for, since Netflix deal was likely to be blocked by the government. Netflix, for this part, has shown a little concern about the deal falling through. Okay. According to Deadline, the shareholder vote on selling Warner Brothers is projected to happen by April, So there are plenty of time before more twists and turns, unbelievably entertaining facet of this, right? So please share the article. Okay, so there you go. I still think the Netflix deal goes through. Now they're doing cash. What time is it? 11:37. We have another Hollywood-esque story here as well. Director Gore Verbinski says Unreal Engine is the greatest slip backwards for movie CGI. Right? Remember the conversation I had a long time ago, chat, about Unreal Engine and how they're going to change basically Hollywood when they did the volume, when we were talking about Mando season 1 and how they're changing the production and stuff. And I said, but the problem is that everything's going to look like Unreal. It's going to look like Unreal. Jesse Max says Paramount asked the president to fuck over Netflix. This is hilarious to me. Okay. It says, do visual effects look worse than they used to? The director of Pirates of the Caribbean says Unreal is the culprit. Right? Like, look at this. This is not Unreal. I mean, it's Unreal, but this is not Unreal Engine. This is the CGI that people did. He's probably one of the best CGI things I've ever seen in movies. Davy Jones. Right? Like, it's fucking amazing. I mean, look at that. He looks real. Okay. Remember the glory days of CGI in movies? Terminator 2's liquid metal, T-1000, Jurassic Park's stunning dinosaurs, Starship Troopers, swarms of giant. All right. Not only did CGI look great then, but most of the visual effects in those movies still hold up well today, even decades after they were created. Nowadays, movie fans seem much less impressed by CGI in films. Their general distaste, perceived overused, or CGI in favor of practical effects. And there's a lot of complaints that the recent CGI is less convincing and more fake looking than they used to be, even in the biggest budget films. Yeah, it's like an uncanny valley of this stuff, right? Plus, we get desensitized to it. Because before technology, before the internet, we didn't know how things were made. Like, you had to watch behind the scenes and how they did the stuff, right? And a lot of people didn't know what it was. So they're just like movie magic. But as technology progressed, we saw how the sausage was made. We saw how the CGI was. More people got in, and the movie industry boomed, and more people were doing the stuff. They're like, this is fucking amazing. Well, now we're all kind of desensitized to it, right? We're like, oh, that's fake. I saw that. I saw a video of that. I saw this on the background. You see all the things. So much so that people are making AI videos of behind-the-scene videos of movies from the 90s. Okay, which is fucking hilarious to me, right? Because we're so desensitized on what the CGI is. We're so desensitized about AI making stuff. It's like just this blur, and we don't understand it. In an interview, but why though? It says Gore Verbinski, director of Rango and the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean films, was asked by visual effects in movies just don't look as good as they used to. And I agree with that. Okay. He says, I think the simple answer is that you've seen the Unreal gaming engine enter the visual effects landscape. Zerbinski said that he also used to be a divide, with Unreal Engine being very good at video games, but then people started thinking maybe movies can also use Unreal for finished visual effects. So you have the sort of gaming aesthetic entering the world of cinema. Okay, Unreal Engine made the waves after being used virtual sets in production of Mando TV series back in 2020, and the use of the engine has also grown widespread in films over the past few years, such as The Matrix Resurrection, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Quantumania. That's not good news, according to Verbinski. Okay, he says, I think the Unreal Engine coming in and replacing Maya as sort of a fundamental is the greatest slip backwards, he said. I actually got trained on Maya. All right. He pointed out that the types of visual effects made with the Unreal aren't necessarily bad. It works with Marvel movies where they also you have to kind of know where your heightened unrealistic reality. I think it doesn't work from strictly photoreal standpoint, he said. He says, quote, I don't think it takes light the same way. I don't think it fundamentally reacts to the subsurface scattering and how the light hits skin and reflects the same way, he said. So that's how you get the uncanny valley when you also come to creature animations. A lot of in-betweening is done for speed instead of being done by hand. In his movie science fiction comedy, Good Luck, Heavy Fun, Don't Die, which also released in theaters in February, he says that the CGI, but they also try to be real strict with making it at least 50% of the frame photograph. I think it keeps you honest. You can also use props in the reference. You also did the CG replacement. You also know you replicate the real thing, he said. Yeah, the problem, like this last thing here, he says, I think it keeps it honest. If you use props as a reference, what Unreal's doing is they're basically just doing everything. Basically, it's just animated. Like the whole thing is just animated. And that's the problem. Instead of, it's like, where do you go from it, right? Instead of in the film industry, right? You see this, right? Everything in this picture is CGI, but it's different than everything you saw in CGI because when they film it, there was a guy actually on a boat, right? The fog, the graphics and stuff they put on. There's a gentleman, right? The actor's there with things on his face, and then they CGI over him all the stuff that it is, just like they do other movies. But now what they're doing is that they're the coffee mug and the table and the chair, and they're just sitting on the green screen. Now, you can look at like Space Jam and stuff like that and looking, well, that's all CGI. But they're doing that for common items. It's like instead of holding this glass in my hand, they CGI'd the glass in my hand. And they CGI'd the sweater on me. And they CGI'd all the stuff. Remember when we watched Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds? You guys remember watching that? And you're like, God, this is awful. The acting was bad and stuff like that, but it looked weird. And why did it look weird? Because his whole outfit was CGI the entire time. Everything was CGI'd on him, right? He never actually like wore a costume. He wore a skin-tight suit, and then they implemented the thing over him, right? So it becomes this like uncanny valley of everything in the scene is CGI, and it desensitizes you as the viewer. So when you watch Fast and Furious or you watch Transformers and you watch all the stuff, the only thing that's real is the explosions, and even those are CGI manipulated. So it just gets worse and worse over time. So they're relying on Unreal Engine for everything instead of using it as a, implemented here and there. They're using it for everything. Hence why when we looked at the Mando show or all these other shows, there's always this fine line. If you go watch any Disney Plus show, any Star Wars, any Marvel, you can always see this like line, the way they set up stuff, right? You can always see this like, you don't see the line because where the screen comes down to the floor and they have the floor where it's decorated. And maybe I noticed this more than everybody else because I worked in the industry, but they always have like stuff just set up in a line to block that line of where the screen meets the floor. And you don't have to do that when you actually film on a set, right? You don't have to do that. You could just see the set. You built the set for what it is. But with the new stuff, it's always a circle. It's always this thing. It's always this weird feeling. Even the scene in Andor that I saw recently, season 2, there's this big scene where they're all in this field and there's a TIE fighter coming in. And the TIE fighter comes down and swoops down and goes right past them. And the way it moves, you can tell that they're on the actual set because the TIE fighter is actually on the screen behind them, made with the Unreal Engine. And you can see the little line of where the farmland is and the little boxes in front of the stuff and what they're hiding. And it's just very, very strange. And I can see it more and more where if they were just out in the field and they went out to a place and just filmed it there and then CGI the TIE fighter and the thing, it would be better. But the entire background is CGI, the entire thing. And it doesn't look good. And maybe it is the lighting. Maybe it is the stuff. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. If you like what I do here, check out some other videos. Thanks for watching. Jesse Max says, I love the Green Hornet. Great movie. Green Hornet was good. Yeah, Green Hornet was good. Feels Good says, I pre-ordered Marathon. Good luck. Good luck to you. I hope the game is done when it comes out. Justin knows a shame. Yeah, just wait. Play the beta first. Maybe you already played played early access or something like that. All right, what else we got here? Painkiller creator jokes that Claire Obscure Expedition 33 team of newbies has ruined his worldview. I don't know what I believe anymore. I don't know if that's a story we should read. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Fortnite and Fall Guys, they're doing some sort of slam ball or something that's coming into Fortnite, limited time event. Yeah, I'll turn. They said it earlier in the stream. Crowd says, Mike, come on, you got to squat up on a free weekend. No, I'm not playing Bungie games. Sorry, Crowd. I'm done with Bungie. I'll go back and play the ones I have, but I'm not playing new ones. I don't care if it's free. You can go play with Tim the Tap Man. I'm sure he'll play it. Have no interest in Marathon. Doesn't mean it's a bad game. Just means I'm not interested in the game. We're gearing up to reset the doubloon economy, preparing to add more requirements before new pirates can access the faction battle. Oh, what is this?
Sofa for the... Hey everyone, it's the start of a new year. We're back in the studio and energized for another exciting year ahead. We're making some changes to our plans for the year based on some recent learnings.
I mean, you could do what you want in your life. I'm not making fun of them. That is a very interesting tattoo. Like he got the tattoo, shaved his head, got the tattoo, and now his hair's growing back in. Is that what's happening?
But once those are locked in, we'll get back on the sofa for the next community direct.
Very dedicated. That had to hurt like a bitch.
We haven't locked in a date yet, but stay tuned. Now, for this first dev update of 2026, I'll share an update on player encounter rates, the next phase of Hourglass improvements hitting insiders, our commitment to Last Ship Standing, and then finish with something we've been cooking up for those stockpiling doubloons. So, first up, I want to talk about player encounters. We've seen increasing reports of how the seas are feeling quieter, with fewer crews on the horizon and less of those stories the seas are famous for. I'll be honest, in reflection, this is an issue I feel we've not rallied on quickly enough, as engaging with other crews in the shared world is just a fundamental pillar of the experience, and we should have been quicker to react.
Is he the new community manager, or is he a new director or something? I missed in the beginning. Did it say in the beginning who he is? Production director. So what happened to Mike?
Speculation, but we needed to get to the bottom of it. Keeping servers busy across regions and time zones is pretty complex, and one that isn't strictly dependent on overall player counts. So the team have been digging into this in earnest to better understand what might be happening. The good news is that we think we've found the smoking gun that identifies the problem though, and it's a combination of issues in our server migration tech going on behind the scenes to keep servers full. We're now prioritising work to improve this across a number of fronts, and we'll share more once we have a clear plan in place. Right.
You're going to go bald, Eclipse, so eventually you're going to get a head tattoo? I mean, good luck, man. I mean, I'm almost there. I don't know if I'm going to get a head tattoo.
Moving on to Insiders news. Last month, I shared an update on the shrinking battle arena changes coming to Hourglass. This month, I wanted to share some details about what we're adding to help reduce the amount of cheaters you can find when...
Do you know what's going to be funny about this game? When it's all said and done and Sea of Thieves is done being supported, you won't be able to play the game anymore unless they make it a full-fledged offline single-player game. Do you know what I mean? And I guarantee you when that happens, it fucking skyrockets in popularity.
Diving into battle. While the original intent was for anyone to be able to jump straight into an Hourglass battle, we've seen cheaters utilise this route to find and disrupt players on demand. Hourglass is now going to be restricted to players who fully completed the maiden voyage, undertaken all trading company onboarding voyages, and then also reached a specific promotion.
Why are they doing what they're doing right now, what he's saying? Why are they making the requirements so, like, hardcore?
Level with the Reaper's Bones. And every member of the crew has to have met those requirements. We feel these thresholds add a meaningful time investment to cheaters trying to access.
I don't know how this is going to work out for them.
The mode on new accounts, while still allowing players to access this experience with their friends after a reasonable time spent on the high seas. There's also a new player protection side to this, that while our intent was for this experience to be accessible from the get-go, we do see new players accidentally diving into Hourglass and not having the best experience, which this will safeguard them from. This set of changes will be heading into Insiders in the next.
But to do the Hourglass, I have to do all these things to get to that point. What about if you just want to play that mode? I know they're trying to stop cheaters, but it just seems a little weird that you've made it so high end.
Few weeks and become part of our wider suite of improvements to the Hourglass experience. Now, sticking with Insiders, I wanted to address a key bit of feedback following our recent announcement of Champions of the Damned, a last ship standing experience set in the Sea of the Damned, coming as part of Season 19.
Just PvP.
We've seen a lot of excitement for this new edition, and rightfully so. We can't wait to expand the Hourglass with this brand new battle type. This will arrive as a time-limited experience, taking over one-on-one sloop battles during Season 19. And the reason for that is for us to gauge player counts and matchmaking times, alongside the existing Hourglass experience.
See if these need to do what Arc Raiders did. Aggressive base matchmaking. If you don't kill anybody or do anything with anybody, just let them play.
Our intent here, though, is for this battle type to be opened up regularly as part of a new live program of events after the season, and that will bring it back on a monthly basis. We're going to learn a lot here during both the season and beyond, and our plans may change as a result, but we can't wait to see them.
Why are they separating PvP again? Why are they doing the same thing they did years ago? Was it 2016, 2017? Was it 2017? Yeah. Where they had a PvP separate mode. Then they put it into the game, and now they're taking it and putting it in a separate mode again. Why?
The carnage from these 6 crews fighting to the death. Finally, I wanted to share an update on something we've been cooking up to begin addressing the piles of doubloons filling your pirates' pockets. We're going to be completely reworking the doubloon currency. Doubloons are going to become much more scarce, and while they can still be earned in small amounts at sea, they'll mostly become the currency earned during a new monthly event arriving in Season 19, the Bilge Rat Weekender.
Now they're doing FOMO with the doubloons that you can get in the thing. They put the thing in the year for years. You've been collecting doubloons, and now they're reworking the doubloon system, so now you can only do it for a certain period of time. This means that the player base is shrinking, and they're trying to make niche things for them to do.
We'll share more on the Weekender soon. With earning doubloons then back under control, we then need to give you some cool things to spend them on. The black market will soon return.
Why couldn't you? Why do you have to rework the entire system to make us use the doubloons? Why can't you just make cool things for us to spend on the doubloons? Why do you have to make the problem sell the solution by making the FOMO of you have the doubloons, now we're going to make them a rarer currency, and you only can make these things during a certain period of time, during a certain period of an event, and then make the stuff to spend it on.
And refresh monthly, becoming the storefront for returning season cosmetics, along with a few sought-after items that have been lost to time. Now, we've taken real care in selecting items previously available in the game to return here, while still preserving those mementos for players who participated at the time.
Oh boy. Now they're fucking with people. Because they told us they told you that the stuff that you get during the seasons are going to be very, very exclusive for the people that were playing the game at the time. Now, I don't really have a lot of this stuff, okay? But now you're specifically going in and grabbing stuff that was in past seasons that people earned, and you're going to sell that for doubloons? That's going to be interesting.
As an example, we'll be bringing back the ability for players to purchase the original Bone Crusher items from year 1 and finally complete their set. However, still preserving the legacy of items like the Drum of the Deep for those players who took part in the Hungering Deep. There's a very careful line we're treading here.
Why make the line at all? Why put yourself in this position?
Preserving those old memories. But it's time to bring back some of the cosmetics.
Oh, God. You know what's going to happen, chat? All of this stuff's going to happen within the next year or two. They're going to stop supporting this game, okay? And they're going to do what Marvel's Avengers did, where all the cosmetics from all the things, they're going to make it offline where you can still play the game, but everything's open to everybody.
Sets that players can at present only partially complete. All existing items in the Outpost stores priced in doubloons will also be converting to gold at this time, so players may choose to grab those.
Do you see? So the stuff that was doubloons before is now going to gold. So before you had to grind to get the doubloons, and they'd use the doubloons to buy the things in the store. But now they're turning the doubloons into gold, so now you can just use the regular game to go buy those things. So those things aren't special anymore for the people that actually had to go do it. And now they're changing the currency to make something even more special.
Items before they change over. Now, to kick off this new approach, we're going to be doing a full doubloon reset during Season 19. But for those players with doubloons in the bank, there'll be a range of time-limited commemorative items available to purchase with your doubloons.
We have this currency that we've had for since the beginning of time. And now we're changing the currency to add a new currency so you can go after this stuff instead.
For their reset. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to log in and grab them before the reset actually happens. We'll share more on the dates all of this will be taking place a little closer to the time. Right, first update of the year done. Catch you all next time.
Very interesting to see why they're doing what they're doing. The old currency was super special, but this new currency is super duper special. That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Crowded. You know this currency that was really special? Well, that's fucking out the window now. All the stuff that you could buy with this currency is not going to be with gold that you could buy with the regular currency. And now we're going to make super duper special currency that only the super duper people can get for giving us your super duper amount of time to put in this game. And oh, by the way, we're putting a PvP game mode back in the game, even though we took it out because it wasn't successful the first time around. So we're putting it back a second time around. Do you understand what they've done with the PvP? It was in the game. They said, we just want to play the game because they refused to put a PvE in the game. Then they removed the PvP from the game and made it its own standalone PvP mode inside the game, right? Then they're like, we're splitting up the player base. So then they put this back into the game, and then they decided then we're going back to the old ways. And then people are like, we just want to play the game. And then they're like, got it. What about if you want to play PvP and you take the PvP and you can opt in for PvP? So if you want to fight PvP, then you go under the water, you come back out of the water, and you fight the people inside the server, inside this little vicinity. And if you enter into that vicinity and fight, then you're part of the PvP as well. And they went, oh, that's pretty good. And they went, we don't want to give you a PvE mode. And then they said, what about if we gave you a safer seas mode? Right? And like, oh, we're going to give you a safer seas mode, so only up to level 40, though. If you want to play anything else after that, you have to go into the regular world and you have to do PvP. And now, here we are, where they're taking the PvP from the game where you can do PvP, okay? And they're putting it back into its own little place anymore. Like, what are we doing, Rare? Why are we doing this, Rare? And what was his name? Is it Mike? Mike something. Mike Chapman. Did he leave? He left, I think. Let's see. Based on provided search results and the fact the results show that recently, as of 2024, Chapman was still heavily involved in creative director of Sea of Thieves, recently discussed the future of the game, confirming that the plans are in place to extend the game's life well beyond the original 10-year plan. It's been almost 10 years. Can you imagine that? It's been active in discussion and direction of the game, including a discontinuation of the ventures and focusing on long-term 5-year plan for the game. So he's still there. Let's see. Rare location. Mike Chapman profile. Professional. What was his name? Yeah, he was creative director. What was this guy? What was his thing? Production director. Creative director. So he's still there. Come on, Sweat Dog. Sea of Thieves is putting in the Sea of Death version, like Dark Zone from Division. It's so weird. Okay, Faltassi says, someone has made what I have to believe is a fake official Highguard account on Blue Sky and has started probably fake marketing campaign today. It is the same Twitter handle though. So they put why would you make a brand? I am so baffled by Highguard, man. I'm so baffled. It makes no freaking sense. Hey guys, is anybody in chat still playing Borderlands 4? Anybody? It's so crazy it has to be true. I guess it's so fucking strange what they're doing over there. What's going on, El Dente? I just don't get it. Never even tried it. That's all right. I haven't done it either. Hightail's officially getting Steam Deck support, but fans hoping to play soon will need to hang on a little longer. Okay. Marathon is listed as a Destiny 2 expansion, was auto-installing D2 on PCs. So if you went to pre-order Marathon, they automatically gave you Destiny. That's a way to get numbers up, huh? That's a way to get numbers up. Altern says, Borderlands 4, I'm still selling ice cream and saving up to buy the game. Well, fans are always going to find a way. You're going to find a way. Aku says 30. I haven't even bought Borderlands 4. I'm waiting for the 50% sale. I'm waiting for longer than that. I'm waiting for it to come on Game Pass, which at 6 months. 6 months. Do you like how I looked at my non-existent watch? What's 6 months and it'll be on. It'll be on there. Just Enough says now Bungie's scamming. Is Highguard going to release? It says on Monday. It says on Monday. I am timetable is I have 3 days. I said on 3 days before it launched. It launches Monday. So Friday, they have to put the poster up that says we're delaying the game. Otherwise, I'm wrong. Akko says 30. Yeah, it'll probably be on Game Pass soon. If that happens, then I won't buy it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to buy it. I'll just play Borderlands 4 like I did Borderlands 3. But remember, if it goes on Game Pass, Randy Pitchford said it's not going to go at a high discount for a long time. Ooh, you guys see this? Tomorrow, I'm gonna mute this. I'm gonna show this in the background as I talk over it. Okay, it'll probably nick me for showing this, but this is the He-Man teaser for the He-Man trailer coming out tomorrow. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Used to love this show. Okay. Hold on a second. Let's look at the... Okay. Remember we're talking about Uncanny Valley type of stuff? Is it me? Or does that sword right there, obviously it looks fake, right? It looks CGI'd. It doesn't look like a real sword. Right? Now, obviously, he's touching a sword here. Who we got? Is that Alba? He's Man-in-Arms? Is that who he is? Who is that? Is he big enough? Does he transform into He-Man? Is he a completely different guy, or are they CGI muscles on him? Is he like ripped underneath this thing? Like Adam was the same size as He-Man. He just got less clothes on. It's like Superman. The sword looks cartoony next to the rock. That's what I'm saying. I guess we'll see tomorrow. Survivor Fest returns tomorrow, January 22nd. Jump back into survival, continue your progress, and finish what you started. Your extraction carryover from the first run, plus there's a brand new backpack trophy awaits. Wait a minute. Was there another... What's Survivor Fest? Hold on a second. Was there an update to Division where they already had Survivor in there? Unlock exclusive in-game rewards for Division 2. Survive Fest. Is this a different thing? This is not the Survive thing that I'm talking about, right? Where you go in. Did they already add the winter update where you're running through DC? For second run from January 22nd to 23rd, jump back into survival in the original Division and continue your progress. In the original Division. Oh, all rules and rewards remain unchanged. So they're still promoting the original. So it's not Division 2, it's Division 1. I'm so confused. Required 5 of the first run, 3 more finished event. This event also supports the development of Survivors, a new game mode currently in production. Okay. Yeah, Dolph Lundgren was a bigger guy than the guy there. Oh, well, this is interesting. So I supported Albion Online way back when. like over a decade ago when they were on Kickstarter. Okay. Well, now it says, let's bring this up. Okay. Missed AOTV premiere. Time to catch up. Here's Albion's spring and summer roadmap featuring visual overhaul, console release, and yes, dragons. Okay. Albion Online roadmap. Realm Divided. let me bring this up. Realm Divided, new faction features, spring content update, visual overhaul, and then Xbox console launch enhanced controller experience. Now, I'm a little confused here because it's coming to Xbox. Okay, now this is on every mobile device known to man. It's on tablet, phones, PC, okay? And now it's coming to Xbox. I'm asking because I don't know. Is this already on PlayStation or is it not on PlayStation? And if it's not on PlayStation, why would they choose Xbox over PlayStation when Xbox is 1/3 of the population? I'm very confused by this. I have a character. I hit a wall, though, because I didn't want to join a faction. And you get gank armies that come and just destroy you. So I just, farm. I loved the game when it first came out. It's changed a lot. It's actually a really good MMO. It really is. Pre-update season and summer content update. So it's coming to Xbox. I just don't get it. I mean, I guess it makes sense because now you can play it. It says it's coming to Xbox console, but obviously it's coming to television sets and Roku and Fire Sticks and whatever else. It's just weird. No, Albion Online is not currently available on PlayStation. It's just weird, right? You're bringing it to console, but you're not bringing it to all consoles. You're just bringing it to one console, that the lowest sales console. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for them. Yeah, but Aku, it's already on. It's already on mobile and PC, right? So I guess the crossover is easier. That's why. It would make sense if it's coming to consoles, but it's coming to Xbox console. It says here, Xbox a good start, but y'all really want to expand to PlayStation 5 and Switch 2. Keep up the amazing work. Yeah, I don't know. It's just seems very, very strange. Yeah, it's not even Switch 1 or 2. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake is coming out. Oh, I'm sorry. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake has been canceled by Ubisoft. My bad. I was reading the picture and not the tweet. Oh, there it is. 22 minutes ago. To the Prince of Persia community, we wanted to share this with you directly. I love these things. I love these apologies. We made a difficult decision to stop development of the Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. We know that this is deeply disappointing. The game carries an enormous meaning for our fans and the teams who worked on it. While the project had a real potential, we weren't able to reach the level of quality you deserve. And continuing, well, what they're actually trying to say there is we couldn't reach the point of actually selling you a broken product, and we can't make it better than that, so we're going to eat this one. Required more time and investment than we could responsibly commit. That's right. And we didn't want to release something that fell short of what the Sands of Time represents. Prince of Persia is a universe and legacy continues to matter deeply to us, and its decision does not mean we're stepping away from the franchise. Thank you for your passion, patience, and love of Prince of Persia. Isn't that nice, guys? Do you feel better? Do you guys feel better? I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't give a shit. And now it doesn't really matter. Ubisoft has canceled 6 games in development, including Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. It also has delayed 7 other games to ensure enhanced quality benchmarks are fully met. Holy shit. I guess we'll read that tomorrow, huh? Now it's impossible to get Rayman 2 remake. Yeah. Another picture of pasta on the wall of apologies. Yeah, it's at this point it's just kind of funny. I don't understand the Albion Online coming to console. Xbox new game save synced indicator, increased handheld optimization, and Xbox Cloud Gaming coming to select Hisense TVs. It's also been busy January so far. Okay. Yeah, you have a new whatever this is. I don't even know
This
what this
3v3 limited time mode is basketball meets football meets the new Fortnite Crown Jam mode uses Fall Guys beans, but you're not falling, you're ballin'. Also, there are free rewards to unlock. This 3v3 limited time mode is basketball meets football meets obstacle course chaos, and your goal is to slam the ball through the other team's hoop. Fortnite has changed the Fall Guys physics you're used to, so now you'll feel every jump, tackle, and slam dunk. You'll be randomly placed in one of these 6 Crown Jam clubs. I want to be on the Dunktown Dinos. You can build hype along the way to use abilities like Big Bean, Bounce Pad, and Confetti Crash to get those slam dunks. Crown Jam launches Friday, January 23rd and will only be playable until February 9th. IGN is going live on launch day to play the new...
It'll come back. It'll come back. That's Rocket League meets Rematch meets basketball. Am I falling or balling? My son will probably make me play. I'll be honest. Oh, tomorrow, Star Wars is going to show the Darth Maul Shadows lore trailer. Okay, so we have a lot of trailers coming out tomorrow. We got He-Man, we got Darth Maul, we got the Xbox Direct. All right, so tomorrow, what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to have the morning show, the Daily Grind, from 10 o'clock to noon. Then I'll go live, and I'll probably stay live up until 1 o'clock. And what we're going to do is we're going to stop the first show, and then it'll be a second show. So it'd be separate because I know they're going to hit me for copyright claims or whatever else they show for the Xbox Direct. So we're going to do the morning show from 10 to 12, 12:30 like we're doing today. And then I'll go live right after again into the Xbox Direct show tomorrow. Yeah, Darth Maul. Darth Maul show. It's an animated show coming out on Disney Plus, I believe. All right. That looks like it. Nothing else in Twitter right now. Same stuff over and over. All right, we're done for today. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock to noon. You can become a member as little as $5, like I said. We'll be back live tonight to play some games with Sarge, shooting the shit with Sarge. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern over on 30 and Still Gaming. We'll be back live tomorrow for the Daily Grind, and then GXG tomorrow evening. And we're also doing a bonus stream tomorrow for the Xbox Direct at 1 o'clock. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Pete packed his bags, said it's been a ride, left Bungie burning while he cruised outside. Gamers cry out, the studio's toast. Pete's counting cash on the West Coast. Golden parachute Pete, drifting through the sky. While destiny's sinking, he waves goodbye. Didn't save the game, but he saved his loot. That's Pete Carson in his golden parachute. Ferraris and Benz, oh the man loves chrome, but when Bungie needed help, Pete wasn't home. Now he's flying high with a wallet so fat, players look up and say, what's up with that? Golden parachute Pete, rolling off in style. Bungie's fate, well it might take a while. He left us raids half-baked and loot disputes. Now he's gone with his golden parachute. Now son, they say don't over-deliver, but Pete sure did on his car collection. Justin takes the torch with a trembling hand, says don't expect too much, you'll understand. Pete's sipping wine while the studio's fried, smiling wide on that golden glide. Golden parachute Pete, cashing out the door. We're stuck grinding strikes while he shops for more. Destiny's future, well ain't that cute? Thanks to Carson and his golden parachute. Yeehaw! Bungie's broke, but Pete's garage sure ain't